we'd want to know, who is Nadia?
I've always known Nadia is something bigger than herself, but I've never known who she really is. I understand young people because I was also there. They didn't feel like they're part of something.
And you were there dancing with the president.
Yes,
hey,
you know, and moderating. Let me tell you,
Nadia.
that was the peak of my career. But you have to believe in yourself first. People don't like me because I know myself too well, and I just can't tolerate things that people are doing.
TikTok or Twitter?
TikTok.
Beaches or mountains?
Mountains.
Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Covers Book Club show. I'm your host, Emma Kithinji. We are back like we never left. On set today we have our dear Nadia Abdalla. Nadia, how are you?
I'm fine.
Karibu sana kwenye show.
Asante.
It's been a long time coming.
You know?
Yeah.
We've changed dates here and there.
But finally we are here.
Yes, we are.
So our June challenge was Of Dreams and Whatever, a book authored by Nadia, who is seated here. Nadia, before we get into what the book is all about, we'd want to know, who is Nadia?
Well, thank you very much, Emma. Nadia is a lot of things, but on the basis, Nadia is the youngest Chief Administrative Secretary, which is actually a state officer, a public servant from the Ministry of ICT, Innovation and Youth Affairs. Beyond that, Nadia is passionate about the African child, the African youth, the African woman. So basically anything that connects empowerment, anything that speaks to a bigger demographic, anything that involves really reaching out to people and touching people's hearts, that's what and who Nadia is.
This title, Of Dreams and Whatever, it comes out as a Generation Z, type of dreams and whatever. What was the significance of this title to you?
Basically, the book started off with the title Empowered African Girl. But then with my publishers, then we played around with words and we came up with Of Dreams and Whatever. So Of Dreams means everything to do with Nadia and what she aspires and what she has done and what she's going to do. Of whatever stands or signifies every failure that she has done, every funny thing that has happened into her life, and anything else that she stumbled upon that socially or culturally is not acceptable. So for me, I feel like those two things are what makes Nadia who she is.
Because in this book there is that, there is the fun side, there is the, I don't want to give a spoiler, but there is that side. There is that side most definitely. So the themes, what were the themes of this book? And when you were writing this book, I'm sure you came up with themes.
Yeah.
Were you able to pour them out into this book as you had envisioned?
Yeah. So my book is actually, I would say, a beginning of a memoir. It's not full. You see, everybody usually waits up until they get to a certain place, a certain trajectory, and then they start writing autobiographies. So I was like, for me, from when I was born up until where my career starts, which is right now, I need to really show the young woman, the young girl and the youth that you can do a lot of things. So my themes are basically empowerment. My themes are mistakes. My themes are gender-based violence and sexual-based violence. My themes are family structure in the African setup. My themes are being marginalized, and my themes are being empowered.
And confidence.
And confidence, yes, because that's a challenge that I went throughout my childhood up until where I am today.
And it's very funny. Confidence, like you are the definition of confidence, Nadia.
Yeah, but I lacked it a lot, and a lot of it played a part because of my upbringing, being from a blended family. I was, and then being overweight at a young age, so a lot of things, being bullied, it's a lot. But where I am today, I would say that nobody can challenge my confidence.
From the book, it brings a very interesting childhood, growing up in Mombasa, and the funny things that happened there. Let us know just a bit about your childhood growing up.
So my childhood was really, I used to consider myself a very mischievous child. because I never used to listen to what people say. I never used to follow rules, but I still found myself always standing up in, you know, somewhere, somehow. Again, I said blended family. For those people who don't understand what that is, it's you are born from a mom and a dad, and then your parents go through a divorce, and then both parties get married to different people. So you end up being blended into a new setup. Now, during that time, I think parents never thought about how that would affect children. Right now, we are all aware of it. We take our children through it. But that time, you know, our parents never thought they needed to explain. So for me, I grew up very reserved, but at the same time, I was very aggressive. I would say assertive, but at that time, it was aggressive. And I just wanted to find my space and my voice. And I believe that beyond Mombasa, because I was raised around very strong women, beyond Mombasa, there was something great for me.
When I was reading this book, I've read this book thrice.
Nice.
And I've read it thrice because I feel like there's some nuggets that you don't get from everybody pouring their heart out. And on page 21, there's something that you said. You said, my thoughts on the flight, this is when you're transitioning to university. You say that my thoughts on the flight were, oh Nadia, you made it, an average student today, a world leader tomorrow. This was something you were manifesting, or was it a dream, or what was it?
Honestly, now that you're reading that line, I feel like I was manifesting it subconsciously. But as I said, I've always seen myself as a bigger person, like bigger than wherever I was. So the moment when, you know, I remember in school I was average, and teachers used to tell my late mom, oh, if she doesn't work hard, she's still gonna be here. So the fact that I actually got on the plane and I was now going to do my bachelor's, I knew that, you know, from there on, it was a very pivotal moment for me to really change. And not only did I have to change physically, but mentally as well. So, you know, I called it.
You did, and you did well.
Yes.
You did well. And there's something else on page 27. There's something that young people are struggling with. And just allow me to read it, where you say, so you see, what you study or where you go doesn't define or draw a map of what you will do in life. I feel like that is a very loaded statement. What has that space been like?
That space has been a very, I'd say, white space. And the reason why I'm saying white is because it is plain. And for a very long time, young people don't understand this, because we come from societies where we're told you have to educate yourself, you have to get education, and then when you get education, that's the only way you can get a job. But that's a lie. And this is something that us millennials going upwards, we need to now understand, that you get education to actually be articulate with your thoughts. You get education so that you are able to have it as a backup plan, and you get education so that you can be well versed, but you don't get educated so that you can get a good job. You don't. Yeah.
You don't get educated so you can get a good job.
Yes.
It's to open up your mind, and this is something that people need to learn and understand. Yeah. So being Nadia, I found that very interesting.
Oh God, yes.
Being Nadia is you have taken it in stride. You have talked about your failures, you have talked about your victories, but there's one thing that caught my eye and my attention: the lessons you learned from your failure. And lesson number 2, where you said, and this is something we're struggling with in the social media, you know, world. You say your supporters are either there to cheer you up, laugh at you, or fight with you.
Yeah, it's true.
You're one of the people who has very many supporters and very many followers.
Yeah.
Are you able to distinguish that? Because I think that is something people are not able to, you know.
So here's the thing. You really have to invest in yourself so much to the point that you really don't care about what people are saying about you. You accept those who support you, and those who don't support you, it's none of your business. How I've been able to manage that is I just focus on doing what's right. Now, if you come to me with love, I'll accept it. You come to me with love that is pretentious, I'll also accept it, because at the end of the day, you're the one who's at a loss, because I will take it all in. And if it's anything negative, I just usually, you know, block it. Actually, I block it. I have this mechanism, and I said it the other time. We have to learn how to block the noise. That's the only way you can look forward.
Block the noise.
Block the noise.
Block the noise.
Just focus on your, you know, And one of the basis of my book is to really focus on you. You are the agenda, you are the responsibility, and you are the power. If you actually know that, then you'll really tap into a very powerful space where you're okay with being alone, you're okay with also being with people, and you're okay with being with people and still being alone.
You have also talked about society does not normalize failure, but I find that you're confident enough to tell us that I failed in 1, 2, 3. Does this come naturally for you, or is it something that you've had to learn, you know, through your journey?
One thing I know, I've never had to be at a place where I pretend. If I've failed, of course I take time out to internalize the failure, but then after I've done that, I come out and speak about it. And what I've learned from that is that from speaking about it, I'm able to cultivate lessons that build another persona out of me. So it's a thing. I have to now internalize. And I cry a lot, by the way. I have to cry about it. Then I use that to make myself better.
Yeah, and I think the message you're passing is it is okay to fail.
Yeah, and it's okay to be vulnerable as well.
It is okay to fail, but don't stay there for too long.
Yeah, I give myself, by the way, I give myself 24 to 48 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I make sure, and those 24 hours, I'll kid you not, I will cry after every 5 minutes. I will sulk, I'll feel bad, I'll do this. But just know the next day you'll see me on Instagram, or you see me on a podium and I'm talking to people.
Nice. Yeah. Mama.
Yeah.
Mama is a chapter that you have dedicated to your late mom.
Yeah.
God rest her soul. How has grief been? Grief is different to different people, but I don't know, I find that you take it all in stride.
To be honest, grief, it's really something you cannot define. I was telling someone, and I don't know if we had a conversation, but I was also telling my sister. So on Sunday, last Sunday, marked 2 years since she passed on. And it was harder than the first year since she passed on. So this year, on Sunday, I was crying every 5 minutes. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't say anything. So I was just in the house. I remember I ordered like a bunch of goodies from Jumia, and I started eating ice cream. Like, I was just taking it all in. I got flowers, even from you. Thank you. But what I show people is the aftermath of what happened. But during my grief stage, I take time out because I'm very much outside. So there's part of my life that I need to be private. But I also come from a place where my family is very supportive. My boss is very supportive. My workspace is also supportive. The people who work with me closely are very supportive. So it's helped me out. And I think it's also her. She's somewhere, you know. Yeah. She's always vouching for me. And
what I'd wish for you is that you get the sunshine that you so freely give to everybody. And this journey, I mean, may God give you grace. You have really talked about it in your book and what she really meant to you.
Oh, yeah. To be honest, if I can even be very personal, I'm surprised at how I am still surviving and I'm still pushing and breaking walls, and I'm really surprised.
And you will do it. Go really girl, you will do it. Yeah. You will do it. Yeah. Now, being CAS, Nadia Abdalla.
Oh, that's a whole lot of...
It's a whole lot. I was actually expecting it to be more on the book.
Yeah.
But...
with time.
Being
coming
CAS.
Soon.
Yes, watch this space. How has the journey been?
It's been fantastic. And you know, if it wasn't for His Excellency the President to give me this opportunity, if it wasn't for my cabinet secretary to support me and even put me in places that people can see my I would say my power and my articulateness, I wouldn't be where I am today. And that's what I tell women a lot. As much as we are being empowered in our spaces, if we actually don't have people to open the doors for us, it's never going to be easy.
So there's something that you said, we are on just being CAS, Nadia. There's something that you said on page 40 of your book. And you said, so dear girl, child and youth, understand that I did not wake up one morning and sit at the table with other key decision makers to influence change. I worked towards the change I wanted to see. I gave my 201% to everything. Nadia, are you telling us that it was just hard work that got you here?
It was, and I kid you not, and this is something that people have not believed in for a very long time, but I wasn't working towards being a public servant or a state officer. I was working towards being something greater than myself. I was working towards making sure that the world knows me so that I can empower other people from my region. I was literally focusing on a certain demographic. Of course, having inspiration from people like Oprah Winfrey and the late Kofi Annan really helped. But there's something that people don't know. And you could take time and scroll on my Instagram page. Up until December 12th, 2019, I actually manifested this position. I didn't know it myself, but on Jamhuri Day on 2019, I spoke directly to the government of Kenya.
I saw that.
Yes. And I actually said, you need to include young people in innovative spaces, technology, leadership empowerment, and boom, January 13th, 2020, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta announced my name. So I don't know whether it's the power of manifestation that I keep playing around that gets me to places, but I'm currently manifesting, you know, to be the next Secretary General of the United Nations.
We'll be here to celebrate you. That is really, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So on page 41, there's something you've said.
Yeah.
Most of you wonder, what does she do in her position? How effective is she? Is there any significance in having someone as young as she is in such a high position? Guess what? These were the same questions that I had to ask myself. I'm seeing a bit of imposter syndrome playing, you know, second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
But I mean, Nadia, why would?
Well, it's because I grew up in a place where I've never seen someone like myself sitting at a high position. You know, I come from a space where if you designate how Kenya is usually being divided, we are marginalized. So, you know, I've never seen someone like myself relating to myself and doing things that she wants to do. So when I sat on that chair, it was January 21st in Nairobi. These are the questions I asked myself, because I'm like, really, with everyone else so well-versed, so experienced, me who doesn't have a political background, didn't even vision to be in public service, can I really do it?
But you're doing so well.
Thank you.
You would think that you've morphed into it. You know, you are so settled there.
Because I love it. I love my job.
You love your job.
I love my job, and it's not a job to me. It's a calling. I tell people leadership is very spiritual.
True.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Kenya ni mimi.
Yeah. My baby.
Your baby. We have seen you transversing the country.
Yeah.
You have, you know, explicitly said it here that it took you a lot to come up with Kenya ni mimi.
Yeah.
Nadia, at your age, you know, and I'm saying at your age because 30 is quite young.
Yeah.
You have been able to come up with this national brand. What were the ingredients? What did you envision? What is Kenya ni mimi?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself going?
So Kenya ni mimi was birthed because I needed young people to feel patriotic and to feel like they belong to Kenya. And this comes from a place where I'm sitting in government now, but before I sat on the other side. And I understand young people because I was also there. They didn't feel like they belong. They didn't feel like they're part of something. And so I was like, I need to come up with a notion that makes you take responsibility of your country. And so I was like, I have these things. And one of the things that government gets challenged with is how to communicate with a demographic that is 35 and below. So why not create a campaign through it and then divide the interest of the different young people into certain pillars. And at first it was a joke because I sat with my PA and my, so I have a, so extra, I had a brand manager. You know, that's something you don't see in public service.
True.
So I had a brand manager and we sat down and I said, this is what I want to do. I wrote up just a short script, and I went to pitch it to my cabinet secretary, and he said, go ahead and do it. Next thing, I pitched it to the UNFPA country rep, who was Dr. Ademola, pitched it to, and it was picked up. 10 months into my job, I launched it with His Excellency the President.
And you were there dancing with the President.
Yes, you know, and moderating. Let me tell you, that was the peak of my career. I up until today, that is something that I have a portfolio about. So when I go to someone, I'm like, I did this at 29.
At 29. How did that make you feel?
To be honest, you know, I reflect back and I think about it. I took it as just something. But now when I write it, like the other day I was just fixing my CV, I'm like, wow, it was actually a big deal. And I have a framework that I launched with the UNFPA. So you can imagine, not only did I launch it with the head of state, but I have a developing partner that actually launched a framework for me.
You have dedicated a chapter on empowerment here. Empowerment is different, and I like the way you've defined it. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of insight about, and especially about Nadia, Ahmed, the dreamer, empowerment, Abdalla, especially about that.
So that is usually something my friends say. If we were to pick our names, it would be Nadia Ahmed, the dreamer, because I dream a lot of things that are beyond me. Empowerment, Abdalla, because I believe that you have to be empowered in order for you to shift things and think differently. So we're not, here's a secret. When you're working, you're not working towards changing people. You're working towards influencing their minds in order for them to change themselves. So for me, that's how I see empowerment. And as much as from a young age, at first, people didn't believe in me, you know, but I still championed and charted my own path up until to a point where now, you know, the government believed in me and I'm here. And for me, I look at it as the beginning of my career. I think there's no other way to define dreaming and empowerment but just to show people and tell people, now charter your own path.
Dreaming and also people believing in you.
Yes, people, but you have to believe in yourself first. Yeah, because if you let people believe in you, it's not sustainable. You can fail.
You can, true.
Yeah, so you have to believe in yourself.
Let me tell you something. Yeah. These beyond the covers, whatever we are doing today, it took the producer to tell me, I believe in you.
But now you believe in yourself.
Of course.
Exactly.
Like you cannot believe it. Abuse.
Yeah.
You have talked about abuse. And abuse is something that people want to, you know, hide behind. But there's something that is really interesting about you, Nadia.
Yeah.
You talked about this abuse, but there's something beautiful that came out of it.
Yeah.
You know, beauty for ashes. And you say that it's at this point, as horrible as it was, your inspirational speaking came from here.
Yeah.
Your lifestyle blogging came from here. What are you telling people that at your most vulnerable, at your worst, you can always find the gold in the dust?
Yeah. At your most vulnerable, you can find the rubies, not only gold, but the rubies in the dust. And that's because, you know, we are in a world where if things like this happen to a woman, if a woman gets sexually abused or domestically abused, society tells them to keep quiet because you never know what anyone would say. My own thoughts were, oh my God, if I talk about it, and being a person who's not married yet and coming from a very orthodox and very cultured family, it would bring a problem. But then I looked at it on the other side and said, also, if I don't talk about it, it's going to continue, because I know so many of my friends who've also gone through it, but they can't talk. And so I was like, the first step is, let me first be speaking about things, writing about things, helping other people. And it took me all those years up until now, where I'm at a very influential place, to now normalize the conversation and to make people understand that you're not a victim, you're actually a survivor. And what do survivors do? They look for options and they look for outlets to actually build on their survival mode.
Identity crisis.
Oof, my God. I think that was half of my teenage life.
Yeah, you have really talked about it. And this is something right now, our generation is really struggling with identity
It is.
crisis.
It is.
Have you always known who Nadia is? Is it
Yeah.
work in progress? Do you now know who Nadia is?
I've always known Nadia is something bigger than herself, but I've never known who she really is. I tagged her as an attention seeker, as a drama queen, as just somebody who's full of herself. Others have tagged me as someone who's rude. But then as time went by, I realized that I'm just assertive. Like, people don't like me because I know myself too well, and I just can't tolerate things that people are doing. And so it's a growing thing. Like, up until where I got, I'm not saying that I'm 100%, but I know for sure if someone is trying to bring me down because of who I am, that can't happen.
But why would anybody say you're rude? Like, I think you're the
Because,
sweetest person.
yeah, but because we're in a society where people love to be lied to. So people who are blunt and people who say things in an honest way, that's not welcomed in our society.
Yeah, and people who want to give their opinions, unsolicited opinions, especially on social media.
Yes.
I think you know how to put them in their places. And I like
Make a joke out of it.
Yeah, and I like that even on that social media, you come out and say, "Excuse me."
Yeah, I do. You can't tell me anything. I mean, so many people come for me because of my job, because of what I do, because of what I wear, because of how I eat. I mean, just like, you know what? If you were in my position, you would do the same thing. Some of you might even want to be in my position. So, take it with grace.
Mental health.
Yeah.
I usually see, even as you state it in your book, in your daily life, I usually see you talking a lot, championing mental health a lot. How, as a country, are we there yet? As a people, are we there yet?
As a country, we are trying. I mean, of course, His Excellency the President tasked a force where they did research about mental health state in Kenya. Of course, we have the research and everything, but we still need to tell people and convince people that mental health is very important. And it is important because if we don't have a mentally healthy country, there's no way our revenue, our development will increase. So mental health goes hand in hand with national development. So we really need to talk about it. I talk about it because I go through those stuff as well, and I need other people to normalize the conversation. So yeah, it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. If there's anything you must get out of this show, it is okay not to be okay. Nadia, what's your message to the youth, being the youngest CAS, doing, what you've done? What's your message to the youth today?
I think my message to the youth is we need to stop having an individualistic mentality. Let's think of Ubuntu, basically doing things as one. Let's be true to ourselves, and at the same time, let's be willing and able to work even when the odds are against us. And let's be diverse and really participate, because it all starts with you. And I always say, Kenya ni mimi. If you're not going to take responsibility of our country, honestly, other people will take responsibility for it, and we'll lose out on a lot. Because the median age of this country is 19 years. 75% of this country is below the age of 35. Think about that.
At Beyond the Covers, we like to have some fun.
Okay.
Quick fire.
Yes.
On the hot seat. Nadia, what is the biggest luxury?
My time and freedom.
TikTok or Twitter?
TikTok, because I can be myself.
Beaches or mountains?
Mountains. I would rather be shacked up there with a beautiful scenery than at the beach, because I was born on the coastal side. So for me, the beach is home.
When do you switch off?
As soon as I walk into the house, I switch off. So unless you're in my circle, like you, if you call me, I will pick up. But I switch off because I need my time. And as I told you, time for me is very important.
That's your safe space.
My safe space.
What would you say to your younger self today, knowing what you know?
Yeah, two things. One, I would tell her to save money, because I had so much money when I was young because of my 2 businesses here and there. And number 2, don't sweat the small stuff. You are going to be great anyway, so it's okay.
Don't say the small stuff. Your biggest frustration with young women today?
I think it's the selfishness of them not wanting to support new people, amateurs who want to be like them. That's my biggest frustration, because they feel like the more they help, they actually make other women irrelevant. And personally, I don't see it as that. Helping a woman or helping a young person is like building your own legacy as you keep going forward.
If you were not Nadia the CAS, who would you be?
I think I'd probably be running a foundation and also being a motivational speaker, training young people and women on how to articulate things and how to be represented in certain places, and really just encouraging the population to just be better than who they are.
Wow.
Yeah, service to the people.
2 people you'd want to have dinner with?
One is Amina J. Mohammed. She's actually the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. And number 2, Oprah Winfrey.
Oh,
yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I wish I could make that happen for you.
It will happen.
It will happen. And it must happen, because you know how we do our things.
Yes.
It must happen.
It must happen.
Alrighty. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nadia, for coming to our show. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our show. And before we go, if there's anything that you get out of this show, is believing in yourself. You must believe in yourself. So a big shout out to HomeBoyz TV, Charlie's Group, Old Books for New Eyes, for supporting us in our charity projects. The last project we did was at Langata Women's Prison. You can see the images on your screen. Follow us on our social media pages, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at Beyond the Covers Book Club. Till next time.
So thanks for having me.